This is Michael Tucker, and you're watching the new Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Condi.
Hello and welcome to the new Legends on Deck podcast. We are in episode 4. I am Brian Koss, senior editor at Legends on Deck, and I am here with the co-founder, David Condi, the man. David, how you doing today?
I'm trying to stay warm. It was 39 degrees last night, and my house has no insulation in Florida. I don't think any of us do, and it was kind of cold. So I'm better today. The sun is out.
We're in the same. Yeah, we're all in the same situation here. It's really brutal. We're in the 50s this afternoon, and I know it's up north. It's real cold, but this is cold enough for us.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today, we're going to get right into things. We have a very special guest with us, and many of you, if you are a frequent reader of Legends on Deck, you will certainly know Jeff Francis. He's probably, I would say, much more popular than you or I am as far as a writer goes. He has a huge following, and he has a very unique niche too. And we're really lucky to have him as part of our team. He's from the Bahamas, and he writes about baseball in the Bahamas. So everybody will know him as Bahamas Baseball. That's his Twitter handle, and really interesting stuff. I did a very brief kind of an email interview with him in 2020, but this is going to be cool because we're going to actually get to talk to him live on the air.
Yeah. Let's bring him in.
Go ahead and bring him in.
Coming in.
All right.
He was in our waiting room, so he's
Yeah, I'm flipping through some of his articles, and it just goes, there's just so many things that he's written for our website over the years, and pretty awesome stuff. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello. How you guys doing?
We're good. Thank you. Good. Like we were saying, we're trying to stay warm over here. You're even further south than us, so hopefully it's a little bit warmer down there.
Yeah, last night got down to about 47, and so
Ooh,
the streets were deserted. Everyone.
Wow.
It turned out nice today, so you have a few baseball games going on today.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome.
Well, I was telling David, I said, I think that you are our most popular writer on the website, and you bring such a unique following because I'm not aware of anybody else writing about baseball in the Bahamas. Maybe there's somebody else out there, but I'm not aware of them. So you provide such insight to people, and I'm sure there's people from all over the baseball world that are tuning into your writings and your and the work that you do. I told David, I said, in 2020, you and I did a kind of an email interview where we covered a little bit of your background and all that. And I'm going to link that into our show notes, but I'm going to give you a few minutes here to kind of bring us up to speed when you started in baseball and your past several decades. I know since the early 70s, being involved in baseball in Bahamas particularly.
Yeah, I started. I literally grew up close to a baseball park, but I never was involved in baseball until one day I was just wandering and came across a baseball game, and it looked interesting, and I said, I need to just start playing the game of baseball because I saw a lot of my friends playing. So that was like 1974, and I got into the game and I just loved it. But I listened to a lot of baseball as a kid, in the late 60s. And we listened to baseball out of Florida, mostly Baltimore Orioles games. And it seems for some strange reason, Baltimore was always playing the Detroit Tigers. And all my friends were Baltimore fans. So I said, I like the Tigers because I just love Al Kaline, and the first bat I ever bat with was an Al Kaline bat. So it was easy for me to fall in love with Al Kaline and the Detroit Tigers,
That's cool.
And so I followed the Detroit Tigers, and at the same time, I fell in love with baseball. And as I went along, I became a student of the game. And so that's why I stuck with it. And then I started coaching at the age of 18, 1980. I started coaching the game, and I just continued to grow in love with the game. And, and after I keep being player, coach, I fixed the field. I was the president of the league. So I just did multitask to make sure that the sport played. And so you could have never come to the park and say, the game is rained out today. No, I'm going to fix that field, so we're going to play baseball today, And so that's how much I love. That's how much I love the game, and made sure that the game was played at what we call the senior league level. But in our day, when I played in the late 70s and 80s, baseball actually played at AA level locally, and because we had a lot of guys who either were released from major league teams or AAA, AA teams, but they would come home and continue to play the game competitively. And so we had a very, very competitive baseball league with ex-minor leaguers, ex-major leaguers. And so in order for us to play at that level, we had to lift our game up to their level. And so that's why, and then we had a great fan base. Baseball, we had an awesome fan base for baseball in the Bahamas, especially in the 80s, up to about 1985. But since then it sizzled out. We were able to bring it back in the 90s until we lost the stadium in 2006. And so senior league baseball at that level is just sat dormant since.
Okay. So with the leagues so most of the guys coming up right now, where are they starting? Like what are they playing? What type of league are they playing in before they get? I know that we'll get into it a little bit because you've got a few guys that have been discovered by major league teams.
Yes.
But what's the path to getting discovered over where you are?
Yeah. So I coach in a league called Freedom Farm Baseball League. It's the biggest youth league in the Bahamas. We average about 42 teams. About 9 girls softball teams. So it's a very big league, and the thing about it is all the teams are played at one complex, which is like 4 fields. And so the younger kids get to see the bigger kids, so they see their part. So from T-ball, they see their part to 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up. Then there's another league called JBLN, which is the Junior Baseball of Nassau, which also rivals Freedom Farm. And they're around about 43 teams. And that's alone in Nassau. And then we have other leagues. Grand Bahama has Grand Bahama Little League, Grand Bahama Baseball, and Legacy. And as time goes on, there are a few other leagues that are coming in. But the key to the growth that we are seeing right now, because in the 60s and the 50s, Andre Rogers signed in 1954, which was a big accomplishment. He's actually an original San Francisco Giant. And so when the Giants moved from New York to San Francisco, we had a Bahamian on that team, Andre Rogers. And so, but in the 60s, we had a lot of guys that played minor league baseball, 70s, but it died off in the 80s, 90s, where it was like just a few guys. And in 2000 and 2001, 2003, we had a conclave, and the president at the time was Greg Burrow Sr. And he sat down in the room. He said, it's about time we start to try to flood the minor leagues with ball players, so at least one will make it to the major leagues. And so in 2003, we gave ourselves 10 years to have a next player in the Major League Baseball, because we didn't have one since Saji Kalma, and he was like 1983. And so we went about and we decided that we want to have a baseball nationals where we bring all the teams from all over the country together, the best of the best, and we just continue to play. And so kids were able to push each other to bring their games up to such a level. and that and Antoine was in college, played with Vanderbilt, and then he was drafted by the Giants, and he went through his ups and downs that minor leaguers go through, even getting released, and but he persevered. And when he signed, when the Braves called him up in 2011, man, we were so happy. So it's like, we did it. We set a goal for 10 years. We did it in 8 years, and the floodgates were open from there. And then now go ahead.
That's so interesting. So you had it was basically like a nationwide effort to push for the discovery of, to get a player to the major league level. So it was almost like a government initiative.
Well, it was among the baseball community, coaches, presidents.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
I was thinking it was this was like the government that was saying we need to invest in baseball.
No, we're still trying to get them to invest. I mean, they're trying, but they just need intervention from the heads of baseball, and so that's where we are. But it was an initiative by coaches and presidents of leagues and all voluntary, and guys who love it because you had to understand the Bahamas had such a love for the game of baseball. We are great baseball fans. So it was like, man, we got to get a Bahamian in there to to really get that interest. And I tell you, when Antoine made it in 2011, which was like the first Bahamian to play Major League Baseball for almost 20 years. I mean, the phones were off the hook. Everybody were calling. Did you see that? Did you see that? And with Jazz now, I mean, Jazz is just a half-hour trip to Miami, so we just get up on the weekend. Say, man, let's go and watch Jazz, And so, but the interesting thing about it is, as I always ask the guy who was in the head office of the Marlins, I said, when are you going to just put a Bahamian whether he can play or not? I said, do you want fans? You put a Bahamian on the team, people will be coming over the weekends.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I have one question. So the Freedom Farm Baseball, so is that basically Babe Ruth and Cal Ripken?
Yes, that's that. We deal with mostly Babe Ruth, Cal Ripken. We won the Cal Ripken World Series in 2009, which was a big accomplishment, and ironically on that team was Jazz Chisholm, Lucius Fox, and Chavez Young, and these are like our top candidates right now, because you have Lucius Fox who is right on the door from Major League Baseball. He's now with the Washington Nationals. We have Chavez Young who is in the Blue Jays organization. There's a possibility all three of those guys will be in the major leagues this year.
That's incredible. Those guys are all coming up at the same time.
Yes.
You mentioned recruiting from both a college level and from a major league organization level. You guys get a lot of visitors as a result now, because now that you're seeing a few more guys make it up. How do they get discovered coming out of your leagues? I know that the Dominican has theirs. Some of the other countries that produce a lot of players, they have major league teams investing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So what we see is in about 2013, we had players like Lucius Fox, Jazz Chisholm. They returned home, and at that time, Greg Burris Jr., Jerron Sands, they opened an academy called Max D Academy. And they started training the kids. But the thing about it is that these guys also played college baseball in Florida. And they played independent baseball. But the key was that most of their former teammates in college were also scouts. And so they invited their teammates down to see their ball players. And they started seeing this talent, it was like almost guys wanted to keep it a secret, But one day when Lucius Fox had a showcase, I mean, I think every major league scout was here. you know. And so up to the date, there are major league scouts coming in and out of the Bahamas. I mean, just about every team comes down here now to scout talent, you know, because it is we're producing it. And so that's why you see them coming up now.
Well, it was it's sort of a very organic process. Like it's a word of mouth. Like you heard about this. I met this player. We got a couple guys into some colleges, and then they've told others, and then it was kind of a hidden secret for a while, and now it's opening up.
Right. And so you are a talent like Lucius, who was at American Heritage, and then he disappeared. So it was like, where's Lucius Fox? Well, at least back home in the Bahamas training. So guys would come, you know, I got to come and see this guy because Lucius Fox was he was projected to be a top draft pick in America. So he moved from a domestic draft pick to international draft pick. And so players were coming down, and then you were able to see other ball players. And ironically, Josh Chisholm was just the kid in the background, you know, who turned out to be, I mean, more than the Diamondbacks bargained for. I mean, you basically got Josh for $200,000, you know, and so I always tell my kids, you know, I say, even though the scout comes to see a ball player, I say, let him see you in the background, you know, so that's how you get to discover you, because if Lucius Fox is and doing his thing, you know, somebody has to feel the ground balls. And so the guy would say, you know, that kid looks good also, you know. So I keep telling the kids, you know, stay in the background and get discovered also.
Jeff, what type of relationship do you have with the ball players as they come up, like Lucius and Jazz? Like, what's your relationship with them and their families?
Oh, I have great relationship with the guys, and I call each and every one of them my kids. You know, they know that if it's one person watching them play the game, it would be me. You know, sometimes I have 3-4 computers and I'm trying to discover every game. You know, I can tell you, Jazz first hit, you know, it was audio, but where the ball came off the bat, you know, I said that's Jazz. You know, and I followed these guys. I mean, like from Anton Richardson. I mean, even when technology wasn't that great, you know, I would be on the internet just typing in search engines trying to find his games, and eventually, you know, I would find his games and get to follow, and you know, and so it was a passion for me to follow these guys and push them, you know, and I would call them and let them know what I think they did wrong, their at bats, you know, and stuff like that. And some guys used to be like, you can't teach them that, and they at a level you never played. I said, boy, I am a student of the game, you know, so I know exactly. And even when I take my daughters to college, you know, I would drop them off at college. So mostly they were in Maryland and West Virginia. And then I would go on the computer and find out which ball player is closest to me, you know, and I would drive 3-4 hours. Last time I drive 7 hours just to watch one inning, you know. And so they know that I'm such a supporter that if I'm in the US, I would come in and watch their games.
Awesome. That's great.
That's really cool. Hey, I do have another interesting question that just popped up. So, you know, in a lot of, David, you can attest to this because we've talked about youth baseball here in Florida and throughout the United States. And it's become a very kind of an expensive game. You know, people are feeling the need that they got to invest in travel ball. They've got to invest in, you know, all the equipment and training and all that type of thing. But it's not really the way that baseball used to be. If you go back 50 years, 30 years, you know, guys were coming up from working class neighborhoods mostly, you know, and now it's almost like you need to have, you know, a fund for a kid's baseball career. Is it like that there? Is it more like it used to be here, where, you know, the guys that are coming up and that are succeeding, I'm going to assume that these guys are more, you know, working class lower income backgrounds. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, ironically now there's a lot of invitations coming in from outside to get these guys to come to Florida to play on their teams, and so that's the move you would see. But basically we were more shut down most of the last 2 years. So kids actually had to go to Florida to play to get in the games and join those those teams to be able to get in the games to play. And I think that the class of guys that signed this year from the Bahamas, the 2021 class guys, most of them had to go to Florida to get in the games because we were limited in our play locally. But you will see this type it's happening. But we have a very solid local league for our 16-year-olds, our 15-year-olds, and and they push one another, but we just don't have that that pitching that throws the baseball to such a level. So most of the time they would take those summer trips, but most scouts would send the guys that they're interested into down to Dominican to play like for a weekend or for a week, 2 weeks at a time.
Okay, so there's become part of the baseball industry just as much as anywhere.
Yes, because the invitations are coming. I mean, my phone is blow up for invitations for summer league, and some kids can't wait. I get a chance to go play baseball in Florida. Next thing you know, they're gone. So it's the culture is changing.
Wow, David, you want to get into the don't
blink?
So I
know. Yep. Yeah, so I know that Lucius, and I believe it was, and you can correct me, Jeff. Lucius and another Bahamian ball player.
Todd Isaacs Jr. Yes. Todd Isaacs Jr. Yes.
Todd, yeah, and he started the blink. Tell us about that. When did that start, and what was the idea behind that?
Yeah, I think the Don't Blink Home Run Derby in Paradise is just an awesome show, and it's mostly for minor leaguers. They get the weekend to be stars, and I mean like. The support is great, and people just come out to watch the future stars of the Don't Blink. The first Don't Blink, you don't know what to expect, and we came out there and we were pulling for the locals, and one of the amazing thing about the first Don't Blink tournament was that we had Christian Robinson, who is now with the Diamondbacks. He hits 8 home runs right off the bat, boom, and everyone was smiling and happy. And then comes this kid named Bo Boucher. Bo Boucher hit 8 home runs right off. I mean, and those balls were just heading out in the oceans, and the beauty about the home run derby is it's on the ocean, so it's clear blue water, and you're looking up at this ball just going. I mean, and the ball explodes off this kid bat, and he became like an instant favorite. Yeah, everyone's like, and so people started to come to watch Bo Boucher hit the baseball into the ocean. But the idea is for getting the minor leaguers to showcase their power. A chance to come to the Bahamas for a week, because it's now extended for a week. Now we, Todd and Lucius, who are the organizers, the brainchild of this Don't Blink tournament. I mean, if you know Todd Isaacs and Lucius, only those two could have came up with this concept. And I'm telling you, and the ball players that they invite, and me as a minor league baseball fan. I get to watch them play minor league, and so I get to see them coming here live. And I told them, I say, but I always joke with the name slips me right now, but and I told them, I say, I have my money on you, but this kid Menendez. I say, MJ Menendez, he is no joke. I say, this guy's going to win this tournament, and so between him and Brinson and Menendez, I mean, what a display of power, and people enjoyed people just enjoy every minute of it. So I'm going to invite you guys down next year.
How many? So I know the first year you had a good turnout. What happened this year in 2021? Because I know that the event was larger and you actually had some camps and everything going on for the kids. So how big was that this year? Well, last past December.
Yeah, the participants of minor leaguers were this was a large group of minor leaguers, because you also had a softball tournament, which was, I mean, it was almost like 27 players a team for the softball tournaments, and then they had a golf tournament. You know, I didn't get to go to the golf tournament, but I was wondering how many guys ended up missing the green and hitting the ball into the ocean. You know, and what guys said, "Man, that hitting the golf ball is tough." You know, so yes, it's not the baseball. You know, so they were able to come out. They had a mini camp for kids, which was well attended. And I know, and I think, like I say, it's more caters to those minor leaguers who who trying to make it to the big leagues, and so we get a week to treat them, treat them like superstars, and show them we really appreciate them. And Todd and Lucius normally have a draft show where they pick the ball players that are coming down to be a part of it, and and the draft show alone is just funny. It's funny, and they be telling you who's coming, and Lucius goes that who's coming this year. Yeah, I have my secret weapon, MJ Melendez, and I was like, he ain't nothing secret but him, maybe to the Bahamians, but he's no secret. So he put on a display.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I think that event alone is probably going to keep growing for you guys. I mean, as you have more players making it into the minors and towards major league teams, you got to imagine that as more people discover it, they're going to want to participate in it. And it's neat that they've turned it into a whole, festival sort of thing where you have, like a week long different activities and different baseball related things. Yes. So that'll continue.
Well, I just wanted to touch, I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff joined us in 2018. Actually, I'm looking at the first article, August 10th, 2018, and I think it was one of the biggest things that we did to bring you on. I mean, like Brian said earlier in the beginning of this, that what you brought a whole different look to what we're doing. It's pretty much sharing all types of baseball, not just major league, minor league. It's where these kids come from, the legends, right? The legends in the game, yes. The legends on deck, where they're at, where they started, and to see these kids really come through and become a big name in the States in baseball. I mean, we really appreciate having you with us on our team and continue to share. I mean, every single article we read, and it's just an amazing thing to keep. We get educated every single time. So with that, we thank you for being a part of us and sharing these stories of these amazing kids out in the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you. I mean, basically, I coach most of them. Either I coach against them, or they pass through, because I'm probably one of the top remaining coaches in the game, and so I coach a few national teams, and so I get to see these guys where they came from, to see them grow in the game, and some of my articles I do write about. When you see this kid at 11, 12, you say, this kid, has the ability to go to play professional baseball.
Yeah, that's it. You can tell that early.
Yes.
Sometimes. So give us some final thoughts, I guess, about what you expect in the next few years out of the Bahamas, or what the future looks like, based on what you're seeing now and all these trends you're talking about.
The academies that are run by Greg Burroughs Jr., of Jerron Sands, Albert Cartwright Jr. Most of these guys play professional baseball, college baseball, and so they know exactly how to recruit. We coaches, we just coach the kids, and when they see the talent, they invite them to their academies and talk with their parents. And so we as coaches, we don't interfere. We just let the kids go for it. We are very happy just to see them get a chance, and so we continue to pull for them. Some of them will just go all out in the academies. Most of the kids would play or continue to play in our leagues, continue to play in the nationals, where in the nationals is where a lot of scouts also come to watch. College scouts, high school scouts, and major league scouts come to our national baseball championships to see the caliber of play. And it's our league alone has over 800 kids playing baseball and then we started a pre-T division, which is age 4. And so out of that division now we have kids who already believe they're superstars. And so, and I tell the good thing about our complex is that everything is so close together. A kid can also go over from T-ball and mimic a guy over in 9, 10 or 11, 12, and I watch the kids turning double plays, and that's like, they watching the big guys turning double plays and kids in T-ball just rolling over double plays, and my eyes were open. It's like, that's one I couldn't even catch the ball, And so all that does is that encourage kids in the game, and the more they play, the more repetition they get, the better they get, and because I think a Major League does such a great job with this farm system, and it's called a farm system for a reason. It's where they grow players. And Major League Baseball doesn't discriminate. If you can play the game, you're going to get the call, you're going to get signed, you're going to get pickup, and you're going to have the opportunity to move up the ranks and up the system, and we try to produce kids that has I tell kids, you got to be likable, don't be a loudmouth, don't be obnoxious, go on a team. So a coach will probably just love you being around, and whether you have the talent or not, but your likability will they would push you, they would show you, and I tell some kids who are loud, I say, when everybody move their hands off of you and you got to stand out there on your own, you're going to fall quicker, and so you try to teach them life skills with their talent. I say talent alone isn't going to help you. I try to show them things that what you see the guys who are making the big bucks, I say they didn't always play that well. They grew into the game, and that's the way you have to also do. You have to grow into this game. You have to grow into a Jazz Chisholm, which is an example for our kids. Someone they can touch, see, and feel. Tell them now that we have that talent there. You can ask him and see how he did it, and you were seeing kids today that you played against, kids you saw playing now going over to play professional baseball and top prospects in their organizations.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a huge inspiration for all those kids.
Yes.
Jeff, we can't appreciate enough all the writing that you do for Legends on Deck. We're all waiting for your next piece all the time. David and I, like I said, you're like our ambassador. We have a secret ambassador to the Bahamas here, and you're spreading all.
We'll be over there too. We'll be making a trip next year.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I like everything's beautiful.
Definitely.
We got to get down there and watch some baseball and enjoy the scenery and the weather. So
definitely, we would love to have you. I think you would enjoy this place.
And this Dode Blink thing looks like a lot of fun. So it looks like a good time. So thank you so much, Jeff. We will of course have you back on again sometime in the future, because we got to get all of our updates and we have this inside information now. So
yes. Thank you guys, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, spreading the word that we have the ball players that willing and able to play at the next level. And we're going to thank Major League Baseball for considering us and continuing to help our kids. So we're gonna push the talent out.
Definitely.
Thank you, Jeff.
Definitely.
Jeff
Thank you,
Francis,
guys.
Bahamas Baseball. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.